sorry, false start there. I am starting again because I was on a bit of a funny angle when I turned the live video on just before. I was on sort of a crooked angle. Welcome to 5 on a Friday, where I talk about my 5 favourite books of the week. I've got a really eclectic mix today of all pretty, no, that's not true, some really new books which are just out and a couple from last year. 5 that I've really enjoyed this week. I'm a few minutes late because I had to go and I was chatting to the neighbours when we got home, and then all of a sudden, you know how your kids all gang up on you and want to play then. So my kids are now down in the neighbour's pool, and yeah, we were just having a chat down there. So I've just offloaded my children to the neighbours for a swim. I can hear a bit of screaming, so if I have to go, I apologise, but I'm sure they'll sort it out. And yeah, so a bit of a busy afternoon, so sorry I'm a few minutes late. I've had a super busy day today. Been doing a few not so nice things. I've had to be sorting out like the sort of estate of my husband who passed away 18 months ago. So I've had quite a few meetings with, just all the, I don't know, financial people, still dealing with what I'm now calling these days death paperwork, but it's just part of the process. But yeah, it's been a really busy week, and but I had, as well as that today, I had a really nice catch up with someone I greatly admire, Nikki from Oh My Giddy Aunt, which is a Brisbane online jewellery retailer, and I don't have an affiliation with her, and my content about her is not sponsored, but I just really like her. I've been buying her mainly silver products for donkey's years now. She's been online this year for 16 years. Oh, thanks, Jackie, forgiven for being late. After I tugged at your heartstrings. Jackie's so mean to me. Go and say something. Actually, you can't say anything about what I'm wearing because it's just white. So Jackie and I have a bit of a, Jackie told me I looked like a barcode a while ago. I was wearing a stripy dress. That's my teaching partner, hashtag best teaching partner ever. Also, quite wicked. Anyway, I caught up with Nikki from Oh My Giddy Aunt today, and she's been online this year for 16 years. Who even knew the online shopping world was going 16 years ago? But I picked up this bracelet from her, which is a one of her gum leaf range of her bracelets, and she said she always thinks about me now whenever she finds a new gum leaf product, because when my brother passed away, he really loved trees, and we used gum nuts at his funeral. So I do have quite a lot of gum nut charms, and we all wear a gum nut charm for him, and this bracelet is new in Nikki's gum leaf range, so I've got this, and it's got peace engraved on the back of the gum leaf, because another dear friend of mine, Lyndall, loaned us one of her beautiful pieces of poetry for my brother's funeral, and the opening line is "Deep peace of the whispering gums to you," which I love. So yeah, anyway, had a busy day. Jackie, child, you can always say something. Oh, you are so wicked, woman. Get off. Just leave me to my Facebook Live. And now Jan Manser is watching. I was just like, all of my colleagues are ganging up on me. Anyway, I'll get on with it. The first book I'm going to talk about today is a really beautiful one called Cocoon by Cora Parker. Now, Cora came out a couple of years ago, or was it even only just last year? No, I think it was 2 years ago, with the absolutely stunning book Twig, about a stick insect who was starting school. And, you know, was really, because, you know, stick insects, they're well known for being able to camouflage themselves. So poor old Twig was really wanting to stand out in the crowd of kids at school. It was one of my favourite picture books that year, and has remained one of my most highly recommended picture books for just that sort of starting school age group, and just, you know, being a good friend and so forth. I really like it. So I was super excited to see Cocoon. It is also a Scholastic publication, and like it's not a series as such, but both the books are about creepy crawlies. So this one is about a little caterpillar, and caterpillar's name is Dawn. And Dawn and her best friends have got a bit of a plan. I think that's one of my children coming back from the pool. No. I'll just keep going. Either that or it's an intruder in my house, because I don't lock my house. Probably shouldn't say that on Facebook Live. I have a big dog. Anyway, Dawn and her caterpillar friends have a bit of a plan. They develop a plan. They're going to eat as many leaves as they can, and then they're going to put themselves into a cocoon so that they can turn into moths and then fly. So it's this beautiful little story of kind of being patient and being resilient and waiting for your turn to come, waiting for your turn to go through that life cycle, I suppose. It's just gorgeous. I didn't think that she would be able to top Twig in terms of whimsy and magic and making creepy crawly buggy things completely endearing. But this one, I don't know, this one is pretty darned gorgeous. The end papers are absolutely stunning. I cannot wait to show my kindy kids these end papers. There's a particular little boy in the kindy class who he's as into end papers as I am, and I feel like we're going to have a lifelong bond over end papers, and I can't wait to show Hugo these end papers next week. Now, she's done the same as what she did in Twig. She's done some things that you can find in the book. So in this one, you've got to find 19 caterpillars, 5 cocoons, and 9 eggs. Super cute idea. I just love Dawn. She's such a gorgeous character. And here's Dawn and her friends, and they're thinking about their plan, and their plan is to eat as many leaves as we can and then weave a cocoon, and 2 weeks later, ta-da, you're a moth with wings to fly. Easy peasy, I can't wait. And so the story goes on. It's just really gorgeous. Her illustrations are stunning. They are clearly some sort of a watercolour, bit of digital, I imagine, bit of pencil. Not really sure, probably should have Googled that beforehand, but I can definitely see that, the illustrations are stunning. They're so bright and colourful. And I do suspect some of them are digitally done. Like I like these elements here around the cocoon. I don't know if you can see that too clearly. They're just beautiful. And it's just a gorgeous story. So well done, Aura. I really think she's a bit of an up-and-coming star in the children's book world. She's got a number of other books, picture books on their way as well. I don't think they're with Scholastic. But I really like seeing everything that she does. And she's a great person to follow on social media if you like to follow illustrators. Now, this next one is a first-time author. Love a first-time author. This is Amelia Mcinerney, and the illustrator is Cora Brecken, I think I mispronounced that. Anyway, Amelia Mcinerney is a first-time author, but she is, again, one I think to keep an eye out for because she apparently has quite a few books already commissioned and in the pipeline. This one is gorgeous. Nice tropical end papers with a bit of palm tree situation. This one's about a little rooster called, not little, this is about a rooster, a big rooster called Ray. And he and his maybe wife, maybe partner, maybe just friend, can't remember the partner's name. But yeah, Ray kind of discovers one day that he's a book character and not a real chook, and he has this absolute crisis, like an absolute life crisis, like I'm not real, so what am I? And he then starts to talk to the reader, and there's a few books doing this at the moment where the character kind of breaks out of the book and addresses the reader themselves, and I just love them. This one is really clever. Ray starts to say, well, how can you get me out of this book? Could you vacuum me out of this book? You know, what could you do? And you see here he's worried about his feathers. They're stuck on the page. So, you know, he's worried. He's a half-baked illustration. He's not even finished. It's super funny. Very clever, good teaching tool about characters and how they exist in a book and how an author creates them and an illustrator creates them. I really like it. He ends up getting a bit stressed out when the reader takes to the book with scissors and, you know, his bits might get cut off and he's a bit worried about that. So in the end, he says, I'm a book chook and I'm a winner. And his partner says, at least you'll never be somebody's dinner, which is a nice ending. It's just a really clever book. I really like it. It's super funny. It's a little bit wicked and it's just a nice one. So both of those books are suitable from toddler right up to like the early childhood years, I would say up to grade 3. But I also think the book chook has got a wider application in that you could use it talking to old kids about characters and the way, you know, if that's a good technique for a character to talk to a reader. And I also think Cocoon, so I'm going to give this one to the grade 2 teacher of my daughter. I'm going to give this one to my daughter's year 2 teacher. Let me say that again. Oh my gosh. That sound was a bush turkey. This happened last Friday on Facebook Live. They're just taunting me. Anyway. I hate bush turkeys. I hate them with a passion. I think Cocoon, yeah, it's going to be used for life cycles. So we're going to use that one in year 2 next week. I'm now totally distracted by the bush turkey outside my kitchen window. Wish my dog was more useful. Next one. Oh, love this one. This one has just ended up on the notables list. It's by Jess Black. The illustrator is Sarah Acton, and it's 4 stories in one. Look how thick that baby is. It is a beautiful publication, utterly giftable. It's got that gorgeous matte finish to it with a textured spine. It's a beautiful giftable book, and it's the Tales of Mr. Walker. It contains 4 stories about a guide dog who is, I'm just reading from the back here, he's the guide dog ambassador at the Park Hyatt in Melbourne. Now, this dog actually exists in real life. You can follow him on Instagram. He's got about 3,000 followers, and he really is. He literally lives in the I've forgotten again, the Park Hyatt in Melbourne. It's so clever. So in the first story, it's when he gets taken to his home, and he's so excited because he's going to live in a park. And then he finds out that it's a park hotel, and that's all a bit devastating. There's gorgeous illustrations throughout, which helps people who are just starting on their independent reading journey to kind of, it helps to keep them rolling along if they know an illustration's coming up and they're not too overwhelmed by all that text on the page then. So I've read the whole book. My 7-year-old is up to chapter 3 in it, and she's super duper enjoying it. Probably should have read it to her, but I read this one by myself one night because I just really wanted to read it. Gorgeous end papers again with all of the luggage that people obviously take to the hotel. The dog's keeper is like the concierge at the hotel, so I like that Sarah Acton has used the luggage from the hotel on the end papers. Really cute. They're gorgeous stories, and what I love about it is it introduces you to the character of a guide dog, and some of the royalties go to the Guide Dog Association in Melbourne, so it's a great cause. There's also more in this series coming out because he's such a beautiful character. He's completely endearing, gorgeous. If you like dog stories, but you like dog stories with a bit of like spunk about them, this is the one for you. It's absolutely beautiful. All right, my next one, change of pace now. This one is When the War is Over. Jackie Child, if you're still watching, this is one for you, I think. When the War is Over, written by Jackie French and illustrated by Anne Spud-Villas. I mean, 2 of the biggest names in Australian children's literature. This was always going to be a winner, quite clearly. It is just stunning. What I really like about it is that there's always, oh, no worries, Jess, I didn't even know you were on here. Yeah, I absolutely love Mr. Walker. He is adorable and spunky and full of life and energy. He is gorgeous. And the stories are funny too, like funny for an adult. So yeah, they're just beautiful. Jess Black has visited us at school before. She is great for an author visit. The kids are completely obsessed with her books since her visit. And I'm still distracted by the bush turkey, who is literally looking at me. Anyway, we'll move on. So When the War is Over, there's always books about war that come out around this time of year. And I don't think we can ever have too many books on the subject of war because we want our kids to understand wars. We want them to have empathy for people who have fought in wars and continue to fight in wars. And we want, more than anything, we want our children to develop empathy through reading of books. And this one takes a slightly different approach. This one is not about one particular war. It's about wars in the world from World War I right up until today. And it's about fragility, it's about peace, it's about the families that are torn apart and then reunited. So this is actually a story of wars ending and the reunions that happen after that. I mean, look, what can I say? It's Anne Spud-Villas. Like, if any of you remember me raving and raving about Swan Lake last year and then being devoed that it didn't win Picture Book of the Year, you'll understand so having problems with this, the way the camera flips around. This is just, the illustrations are breathtaking. They really, you just kind of have your breath taken away when you look at them. The emotion in them is just gorgeous. The story is written as a poem by Jackie French. Dog, could you go away? You're actually really annoying me. He's licking my leg now. I've got a bush turkey out there and a dog licking my leg. It's just beautiful. So there's World War I peace treaty, and there's a reunion with some dogs after I just kicked my dog away. I love this one. I tried to say goodbye. My handkerchief was dry. But now your hand is warm in mine, I am allowed to cry. It's just a beautiful line. Just stunning illustrations. I don't know if you can see that cup of tea, but it's just beautiful. Look at the warmth in those. It's just exquisite. Now we're World War II victory in Europe, victory in the Pacific Day, the occupation of Japan. Look at that red. The Malayan emergency, and so it goes on. Korean War, Indonesian confrontation, and it just continues. And then the last page is, and now the war is over and some small space is free. Though somewhere guns are snarling, you've come back to me. It's just beautiful. Look, I just can't recommend it highly enough if you're looking for a book for your school library or for your home library. I just don't think you can go past anything that is done by Jackie French and Anne Spud-Villas. Amazing combination. And then my final book is Australian Birds by Matt Chung. This one has also just been notable in the CBCA Book Awards. I've been meaning to talk about this one for a while. Gorgeous end papers. Bloody bush turkey on his end papers. Just noticed that. Bet he likes bush turkeys. You can have my bush turkey, Matt Chung. Anyway, it's beautiful. It's by Little Hare, who does some spectacular books. Some of my absolute favourite books of all time are published by Little Hare. Which way am I moving? I'm going to try and move that way. It basically goes through some really interesting Australian birds. There's some information, but more to the point. Look at those illustrations. It is just a beautiful production. It's an absolute coffee table book. This is my friend Lyndall's favourite bird, the superb fairy wren. There's all sorts of interesting birds. This is probably my favourite bird, the rainbow lorikeet. I grew up with those in my backyard. It's just gorgeous. The illustrations you could just look at forever. The Australian bush turkey. Brush turkey. We call them bush turkeys sometimes. Yeah, anyway. That's exactly what the brush turkey outside my window looks like at the moment. They are destroying my garden. They've ripped up all my citrus trees. I'm just beside myself about them. Anyway, that is my 5 on a Friday for today. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my 5 favourite books of the week. The links to all more information about them and to buy them are in the notes at the top of this video. And yeah, I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you've got some nice things planned. We've just got another weekend of netball, piano, musical theatre, all sorts of things. But I do have my best friend from Kindy Days, from Yoronga Hyde Kindy, coming over for dinner tomorrow night, so that'll be lovely. Yeah, have a great weekend of reading, and I will see you again next week.